Hey, do you guys like my Halloween costume? I don't know if you've seen these. They're fun. The bunny has magical ears. Yes, it's a rabbit. Hey guys, did you do anything for Halloween? You dress up at all? Oh, you're dressed up. No, no, yeah. Yeah, I know this year there's not too much that you guys are doing for Halloween, not able to go out as much. Yes, yes, it has little you squeeze it and the ears pop up. It's actually a super warm hat. It's a bit cold here where I am. I actually live in Kunming, Yunnan, China. And so we don't have indoor heating here. So this is actually a warm hat. I actually wear it a lot when I go out. But today I'm calling it my Halloween costume because for you guys, it's Halloween today. Yeah, I actually live in China. So, yes. So, okay, today what we're going to talk about, I saw that a few of you guys were asking, we're going to talk about really 3 holidays, but they're kind of all around this time of the year. And it's called, we have 3 holidays. So today or yesterday or today, your time, like this evening, is what holiday? Yeah, Halloween. Okay, actually not Christmas. We're not going to talk about Christmas yet. Are you kidding me? It's not even Thanksgiving yet. That's like a American thing. We always are like, you can't talk about Christmas until after Thanksgiving. Yes, China is awesome. I love it here. It's a good place to be. And they've done a good job, I have to say. But anyway, yeah, okay, Christmas. Okay, Ty, you're gonna have to wait. You're gonna have to wait until after Thanksgiving, at least for me, because I'm American and we don't like to talk about Christmas until we've already celebrated like Halloween and Thanksgiving. So today's Halloween. Halloween is actually it means Eve of Holy. So yeah, All Hallows Eve. Yes. Ah, yeah. See, William knows what's up. And so actually what we're going to talk about today is All Saints Day, as well as something called All Souls Day, very briefly, which is not the same thing. And then after All Souls Day, we're going to talk about something really interesting that they celebrate in South America mainly, but other places a little bit too, called Day of the Dead. And so we're gonna like learn about that. Sounds good? All right. So let me go ahead. I'm gonna get my PowerPoint up here and going because of course I have a PowerPoint. All right, let's share that. Boom. All right. Can you guys all see that okay? Yes. Yeah. See, we gotta no, we can't go down any bunny trails. We can't go off topic. No bunny trails. Otherwise, we'll find a bunch of rabbits and we'll be very distracted and we won't get through all this information that I've prepared for you. Actually, I think it's pretty interesting. I learned a lot while I was preparing this slide, to be honest, or this PowerPoint. That's a fun thing about being a teacher is you have to keep learning, right? Because if you want to be a good teacher, you have to actually know what you're talking about. You actually have to learn. So yeah, it's good to be a student and it's good to be a teacher. All right, so yeah, that's me. I'm Miss Grace. Hi. I live in Kunming. You guys ever been to Kunming? Anyone? Okay, moving on. So yeah, I can see your name in the chat, but can you tell me if that's not your real name, like if you're Lord Voltron or something? Can you please tell me your real name? And can you tell me where you are right now? I was told like most of you guys are in Canada. Is that correct? Let's see. Canada and Toronto. Okay, Canada's big. Okay, like where in Canada? You were born in Canada. Shanghai. Okay, you were from Shanghai, live in Canada. Canada. Oh, Mississauga. Where is Mississauga? Oakville, Ontario. Okay. Maple syrup. Oh, maple syrup's delicious. Okay, so most of y'all are from Canada. Oakville. So that's like kind of near Manitoba. Okay, nice. Very cool. I've actually never been to Canada. North York. I don't know where North York is. Okay, I'm gonna have to look up some of these places and learn about where you're from. Oakville, Ariana. Okay. Okay. Cool. All right. So yeah, I've actually never been to Canada. I've been to China and I've lived here for 10 years, but I never made it to Canada. So Toronto. Okay. Yes, I know where Toronto is. Sweet. I'll have to go sometime. I've always wanted to go. I've never had the time. And look, there is the maple syrup. All right. So yeah, this is our topic today. We're going to be doing All Saints Day and Day of the Dead. Have you guys ever heard of El Dia de los Muertos? You ever heard of that? No? You learned about them? Justin has. Sweet. Yes, no, I don't know. Okay. Do you guys know what language that is? El Dia de los Muertos. Spanish. Yes, very good, very good. So this is actually a holiday that started in South America, but it was not started by the Spanish, but there was actually people in South America before the Spanish came that were like, let's celebrate this. And then this is a picture here of All Saints Day. You can see people got their shiny little halos, and then you got these like happy skulls over here. That is All Saints Day, or this is a Day of the Dead, whereas this is All Saints Day. Yeah, actually, we'll talk about these schools. It's pretty cool. They've got a lot of good traditions about it. For skulls, though, they look pretty happy, right? They're not like super like, oh, I'm a dead person. They're like, hey, look, I got flower in my eyes. This is great, right? So, yeah, that's Day of the Dead. All right, so can you guys tell me? Just type in the box a little bit, like, what do you already know about Halloween? Dead people. Spoopy. It's very spoopy indeed. Yes, you get lots of candy. You got to scare away the toast. I think you mean ghosts. Yes, yes. Scare away the ghost, not the toast. Yeah, yeah. Actually, there is some movies called The Day of the Dead, but that's not about the Mexican holiday Day of the Dead. We'll talk a bit about that. Yeah, it can be a bit scary. It's got something to do with dead people, right? You guys know about carving the pumpkins. Yeah, the healthy lady gives apples or raisins, and you're like, I just want a chocolate bar, ma'am. But yeah. Yeah, so the jack-o'-lanterns, these guys, they actually yeah, that's something that started in England. Originally they carved turnips, which, you know, like the little like white vegetable, yeah, they would carve turnips. I don't know how you carve a turnip, but that's what they would do. And then eventually somehow it became pumpkins. Yes. Trick-or-treating, yeah. So, okay, Halloween actually exists because of, it means like Holy Eve, so like holy the night before, right? So actually it gets its name because the next day, November 1st, is All Saints Day. Okay, so yeah, I think a few of you guys already knew all of that, right? So yeah, Halloween actually gets its name because of All Saints Day. But we're not going to talk a lot about Halloween because a bunch of other teachers did some excellent presentations on it. And so I'm going to talk about All Saints Day. Hi. Yes. All right. So what was considered holy the next day? All Saints Day. So look here, look at all these happy people. It's like a sea of happy people. Who do you think they might be? They're like super happy. Look at this. They're all hugging each other. Yes. Okay, these are actually, no, they're not Mexicans. They could be Mexicans. I don't know. There might be some Mexicans in there. Yes, I can see you in the chat. They might be Mexicans, but there's definitely all types of people. So these would be the saints. And so this is like a giant gathering of the saints. Yeah, All Saints Day is a big thing. Okay. So have you guys, obviously you all know what Halloween is. All right, we got some great numbers flying through, but have you ever heard of All Saints Day? Do you know anything about it? No. Okay, well, do you guys know what a saint is? If I say like, yeah, something to do with Christians, right? You've heard about it. Yes. Okay. Does people go to die? No, they don't go to die. Does it have to do with Roman God? Maybe turn up your volume if you can't hear. Okay, so yeah, it's something to do with like Christians and it's something to do with saints. Okay, have you guys? No, it doesn't have anything to do with a harvest, dude. More like Roman. This looks like it would be a Roman painting, but actually this is from kind of like the medieval ages. Yes, holy saints, people believing in God. Yes, that's actually what a saint is. Very good. So All Saints Day, this is actually like a Catholic holiday. So not all Christians celebrate this. I'm not Catholic. I don't celebrate All Saints Day. But it is an influential holiday that if you want to understand like Europe, if you want to understand anywhere that has a lot of Catholics, then you kind of need to know a little bit about, some of the Catholic traditions. Okay, so especially places like South America, it's important to understand some of these things. So, a saint is basically anyone who believes in Jesus and followed his teaching. So, like if you believed in Jesus, but you were still like, living like a real horrible life, you didn't really follow his teachings, you didn't really believe in him, so you wouldn't be considered a saint. Okay, but anyone who believed in Jesus and followed his teaching according to Christian tradition, that would make you a saint. So I don't know, some of you guys might be saints. Okay, I'm a saint, but I'm not Catholic. Okay, so when we say like, you don't necessarily have to like strictly be a Christian, but sometimes people will say like, oh, he was so saintly, and that's just saying like, oh, he was such a nice person. Like, you don't necessarily have to believe in Jesus or be a Christian to be called a saint. It just means like, oh yeah, like you're so nice. Um, yeah, maybe check your camera, Ningfeng. Um, so yeah, like if you're like, if you can be like, oh, that was a saintly little girl. She was just a nice little girl. Okay, so you guys have probably heard that. Here we got like a picture of Saint Francis of Assisi. We actually call this an icon in super technical words. And you can see he's got this like shiny bit here, like a halo. Okay, and that actually is what represents. Yeah, just ignore him if he's spamming. Okay. Um. All right. Anyway, so he's got like a halo, and that actually represents like God's glory on him. So and that like he's a saint. Okay. And so like saints are, some of them are dead, some of them are alive. Like, yeah. All right. So there's Saint Francis of Assisi. He was a guy. All right. So here are a bunch of different saints. In Catholicism, they have something called patron saints. And so these are actually like saints that are like notable for helping out with um certain things. So you have like a patron saint of money, a patron saint of music, a patron saint of strength. And so like sometimes like with Catholics, what they'll do is like they'll be like, oh man, like my family is falling apart and I'm really having a hard time. And they'll be like, okay, I'm going to ask the patron saint of family for some help. And so they'll like pray to the patron saint. Okay. So I don't know if you guys have heard that concept before. Okay. So you can see a bunch of different saints. So literally there's like a patron saint for like every day of the year. They just made a patron saint of the internet, and guess what, it was like a 15-year-old kid. So like the current pope is like making a patron saint of the internet, and Lord knows we need a saint for the internet because it's a mess out on this thing, right? So yeah, it was actually like a 15-year-old kid that's the patron saint of the internet, which is interesting side fact. Yeah, a 15-year-old kid. But he made like websites for like the Catholic Church talking about saints, and so the Pope was like, "Wow, that's pretty cool." Yeah. And then when he died, the kid died of, I think he died of like leukemia or something. And the Pope was like, wow, this kid did a lot and a few miracles happened. And he said, okay, we're going to make you patron saint of the internet. So no, 15-year-old kid is a patron saint now, which is a little bit crazy, but cool, right? So, you know, just because you're young doesn't mean you can't do amazing things. Hint, hint, children. Actually, some of the best world changers are actually young people. So we expect great things from you, young ladies and young men. All right, so why are these saints so important to Christians anyway? Basically, they're role models. Okay, y'all know like what's more important, like what somebody tells you to do or what somebody actually shows you to do. What's more important? If I tell you, you know, like be nice to your dog, and then I go hit your dog, like what's more important, what I've done or what I said? Yeah, what you actually do. And so saints are actually really important in Catholicism because these are people who actually like did live a good life. And so they actually modeled their lives after Jesus. And so because they lived like good lives, people will kind of like be like, okay, wow, Jesus lived like a totally perfect life, but I'm still a human. Oh, look, there's another human that actually like lived after Jesus and lived like, I won't hit your dog. I'm just joking, okay? There's another human that actually, you know, lived after Christ and also lived a really good life. So, you know, I can do it too. So Christians look at saints as role models, okay? Like obviously like the big role model for a Christian would be Jesus. But it's encouraging to see other Christians that have also lived a really good life. Um, so these are particularly important to Catholic Christians, and then there's a whole another group of Christians that aren't Catholic that came a little bit before the Catholics called Orthodox Christians, and they also pay a lot of respect to the saints. And so there's like a lot of different groups of Christianity if you guys know anything about that, and I'm not going to get too into that, but both Catholics and Orthodox, they kind of make these things here called icons. Okay, and what an icon is, like sometimes people will think like, oh yeah, you know, like Christians, they go and they pray to the icon. They're not praying to the icon. What an icon is like a picture of like a Christian concept, or like it's a picture from about that tells a story. And so you need to remember like Christianity's been around for over 2000 years, and a lot of that time people couldn't read. So they'd be like, oh yeah, you know, how do I remember all this stuff about, you know, Jesus and the saints and, you know, these stories? And so what the Catholic and Orthodox Church would do is they would draw these pictures called icons, and the icons actually help people remember what they're supposed to know because they can't read. And if you can't read, then what are your options? Pretty, pretty pictures. Okay. So these icons, these pictures were made to help people remember the stories because they were illiterate. Yeah, no, this wasn't actually Jesus. This was, I think, like Constantine. So actually none of these are pictures of Jesus. These are all saints, icons of saints. All right, so these are things that whoa, let's go back. Okay, these are things that all Christians believe, that when Christians die, saints, Christ followers, they go to heaven and they live with God. So like pretty much like all Christians believe that. What's wrong, Mingfang? You need help? Okay. So anyway, all Christians believe that when they die, if you believe in Jesus, you go to heaven. Now, some Christians, this is something that like not all Christians believe, that actually dead Christians that have died and gone to heaven can actually see. um I think, okay, Ningfang, I think you probably have to change something on your computer. Can other people see? I think other people can see. Yeah, okay, so Ningfang, maybe you need to change something on your computer. Okay. Man, I don't know. Do you have like maybe your mom or your dad that you can ask for help? Because I'm not sure. I don't even have an iPad, so I'm not sure what you might need to change. Yeah, I'm sorry, honey. Lag. Maybe, okay, but other people are able to see, so maybe you need to like log out and log back in, and maybe that would fix the problem, Ningfa. I'm sorry, man. I can't do anything about the lag, and it seems to be working for other people. All right, so anyway, all Christians, they believe that, yeah, when you die, you go to heaven. Some Christians, not all Christians, believe that Christians can actually, that have gone and died and are in heaven, can actually kind of look down and be like, hey, what's up? What's going on? And like look down and see what's happening on earth. So more Christians would believe like, oh, you can be watched by your loved ones from heaven. But then there are other Christians, now again, less than some that would believe that you can be watched. There's some Christians that believe you can actually ask the dead Christians for help. So not all Christians believe that, but some even believe that. That's mainly like the Catholic and some of the Orthodox. Yeah, all Christians believe that. And so like the Christians that have died, they're actually a bit like cheerleaders. Okay, like you imagine like a football game or basketball game or whatever there are, whatever game it is, you always have the cheerleaders on the side saying like, go team, and the people in the stand saying, go team, right? And so like the dead Christians would be like the cheerleaders, like they can, see what's going on earth, and they're like, come on, guys. And so then the Christians that actually are on earth, they actually call them the Church Militant, okay? Now, this isn't the FBI, this is the military. Okay, now militant, if you're a militant, that means you like to fight. Okay, so the Church Militant is a church that's like currently on the ground. The Christians that are currently alive that are trying to help God's kingdom come to earth. So they're the ones that are actually trying to bring like, they're trying to feed the poor. They're trying to love. Okay, let's stop posting things that are random, please, Tim. Okay. They're trying to feed the poor. They're trying to, take care of the orphan and the widow. They're trying to love people the way that Jesus did while they're alive, which is like weird because like, you're like, how is that fighting? Well, okay, you think about kind of what the normal situation is. Like, if you see someone who's like poor on the street, like it's tempting to be like, yeah, what did that person do to deserve to be poor? And why is it their problem that they're poor? But actually, what Christians are supposed to do is they're supposed to love and take care of the poor. Okay, they're supposed to help the poor. Or like, if someone's like dying of a disease, like you guys know what the bubonic plague is? Have you ever heard of that? That was like the Black Death. So during the Black Death, during plague in the medieval ages, actually most people were like, shoot, you're dying of the virus, like, or the plague, it wasn't a virus, you're dying of the plague, I'm going to not be around you, I'm going to let you go die, and I'm going to go somewhere else. And so actually what a lot of Christians did, and this is why Christianity really grew during that time, instead of like being like, bye, have a nice death, the Christians actually stuck around and like helped take care of the people that were dying, and a lot of people were saved that way. A lot of Christians died too, taking care of people that were sick. But it was actually a fight to try and like help people. So when we say the Church Militant, we don't mean like the church walking around with guns. We mean the church that's actually like trying to help people and love people the way that Jesus showed us to love people. All right, so militant means like fighting. Okay, so militant, military, you guys get that? Military, militant. Okay, and so We have the Church Militant, which is a church on the ground that's currently alive fighting. And then we have the Church Victorious. These are the ones that have gone to heaven. So these are, again, like the cheerleaders, or if you think of it a bit like see, these people are like, yeah, go, go, go. Okay. The potato god, I haven't heard of it. So this is like the victorious church. Like, so if you imagine, like, these people are in the stands cheering on the football players, right? So like if we look at this picture here, yeah, victorious, church victorious. So the football players, what would they be like? What would they be? Would they be church militant, or would they be church victorious? Yeah, so I mean, okay, think about this. So we talked about church militant, the people that are currently fighting. And then we had church victorious, right, which are the people cheering. Okay, so you can kind of think of it a bit. Yes, the football players are the church, would be like the church militant, right? Now the people in the stands that are like, come on, let's go, go team, go. This would be the church victorious. It's not a perfect analogy because, like, not all the people who are in the stands were football players, but maybe some of them are. But yeah, the stands are filled with people that have already died and got on. Soccer or football, yeah, I know. Okay, Canada, we're calling it soccer, right? But okay, I've lived in China for 10 years. I call it football now. That happens. I call football hand egg. Got online, right? Hand egg or olive ball. All right, so yeah. All right, let's look at this picture. Okay, so I've just given you some information. Can you tell me what's going on here? What's going on here with this picture? Okay, so take a minute, look at this. Okay, who's this guy? Who do you think he is? Oh, duh. Yes, thank you. Jesus, God, right? Okay, so, all right, if you look here, there's like a division. Let's analyze this piece of artwork. Okay, if you look down here at the bottom of the screen, what's going on here? What's going on with these people? Do they look like they're happy? Are they in peace? What are they doing? No, these aren't dead people. Yeah, they're fighting. Okay, and then over here, what is this? Yeah, these are the dead people. Yeah, some of these people are praying. Okay, and now who do you think these people are up here? So what would be a name? Yeah, these are the saints. So you can actually see here that this is a visual representation of what Catholics believe is going on, right? So you have like the people, the church militant down here that are like, oh, we're going to fight. And then you have like actually people that are like opposed to the church, that are like, yeah, how about instead of like, taking care of the poor, maybe we should like kill them because they're stupid and they're poor, and instead of loving them, let's just kill them. And so you have people that are like opposed to what the church is doing, and so there is actually a fight. Sometimes it's like a physical fight, as the Catholic Church did, but a lot of times it's just an idea, like you're fighting with your ideas, and you're fighting with your actions, right? Like you're choosing, instead of trying to like get what you want, to actually put the needs of someone else first, which is like totally against what the world says, right? So this would be like the church, and then this would be kind of like the things the church is fighting. These would be the saints, and then this would be like, oh, you're gonna go, wow, you were gonna go trick-or-treating, but class is better. I feel honored. Okay, so going on, what is All Saints Day? So in May 1609, Pope Boniface IV commemorated the martyrs. These were people who were killed for being Christian. So like, sometimes people don't like it when you take care of the poor and love the widow, and they kill you for it. So these would be martyrs. And so he decided to make a holiday honoring the martyrs. Okay. There was also a non-Christian holiday at this time in Europe that was honoring the dead. And so actually, yeah, I know I got a couple typos. Shh, ignore them. Don't see them. so there was like a holiday, another like non-Christian holiday. So Pope Boniface made a holiday to honor the dead, to remember the martyrs. Pope Gregory was like, or Pope Gregory the Third was like, I don't like that this holiday is on the same day as a pagan holiday, because this means that people think like Christians are pagans now, or non-Christians. So he said, you know what, we're going to move this holiday to November. So it got moved in 731 AD by Pope Gregory the Third. Originally it was in May. So it's a Christian holiday, or Christian just meaning Catholic here. It's a Catholic holiday. It starts with like all this reflection about like how can Christians live a better life closer to Jesus. And we do that by kind of looking at the examples of the saints and thinking about what Jesus taught. Catholics celebrate it November 1st. Not all Christians celebrate this holiday, but you know, it's a big holiday. So what do actual Christians do on this holiday, or Catholics do on this holiday? They'll attend mass, which is like a church service in the evening, and usually it's kind of a very solemn affair. You know, people aren't like, oh, All Saints Day, a bunch of Christians died. It's not like it's solemn. It's a bit more serious. And they'll read this thing called, it's upside down. It's called the Beatitudes, okay? And the Beatitudes was something that Jesus said in one of his like most famous sermons called the Sermon on the Mount. And it's 8 things that Jesus said that was really kind of like a total backwards from what the world was teaching at the time, or what other people were teaching at the times. So for example, like Jesus would say like, blessed are you when you're persecuted, like blessed are, like you're blessed when people are mean to you. And you're like, what the heck? Like, how is that a good thing? But it's a great teaching. And so all the saints kind of or live their lives based on the Beatitudes. And so the Beatitudes are an important part of Christian culture for you to know. So if we look here, like, so the Beatitudes are actually, the reason the house is upside down is because it's like a flipped upside down value system. It's like completely backwards to the way people were thinking at the time. All right, so these are the Beatitudes. As I said, there was 8 of them. So like, okay, blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. Blessed are the poor in spirit. Like, okay, is it a good thing when you're poor? Is that like the way you think, like, yay, I'm poor, this is great? Like that doesn't seem like a great thing, right? But Jesus said, blessed are the poor because theirs is heaven, theirs is the kingdom of God. Blessed are the merciful. So like when someone does something bad to you and you decide like not to go punch them in the head. Poor means you like don't have money, you don't have a lot. So like another beatitude is like, blessed are the merciful. So like, you know, not when you like get revenge on people, but when you're kind to people, because you will get mercy back. Okay, I know, right? Blessed, yeah, right. These are upside down values. This is why like the house is upside down, right? Blessed are the peacemakers. Okay, so like instead of like being the troll on the internet who's like, oh man, you're so fat and ugly, and saying like mean things like on the internet, like when you actually like try to make peace, like you're actually going to be called a son of God. Okay. So and then you have like, blessed are those who mourn. So like, you guys know what mourning is? Like when somebody dies, you're like, oh, really sad or whatever. Son of God, well, here it means that God will recognize you as family. Okay, so blessed are the peacemakers. God will recognize you as family. Blessed are those who mourn. So like, blessed are you when you're like sad and upset, because you're going to be comforted at one point. No, you're not fat, you're beautiful. But I mean, like this, you can see how these ideas, okay, these teachings, like blessed are the meek. Okay, like meek is the opposite of like being like super bold. So like being a meek, like a gentle, kind person, like being a real gentle person. Like you think about our world today, like if you're really like is it better for you to be like really aggressive to get what you want, or be like, I will wait and I will be patient? Right? Like, so that's what meek means. It's kind of being gentle and patient. Okay. But we think about our world today, people are so loud, right? Like, I disagree with you and I cancel you and I'm like, I'm gonna make a bad TikTok about you, right? And so they yeah, so like these are the values. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst, like when you're hungry for righteousness, right? For you will be filled. And blessed are the persecuted. So like when people are like, like mean to you and like cruel to you, like God said, Jesus is like, you're blessed. Like when people are mean for you for doing the right thing, like that's actually like you're blessed, because like, yours is like, you'll get the kingdom of heaven. So this is like what Jesus taught. And so these are very contrary to kind of what popular thought thinks, right? And so yeah, these are all the Beatitudes. You can look that up more. It's like a big teaching in Christianity. So what else do people do on All Saints Day? They go to the graves of the dead. Now this is not all people. This is, again, Catholic people, okay, or Catholic Christians. People go to the graves of the dead. They'll leave flowers. They'll clean the graves up. Light some candles. Different parts of the world, they're going to celebrate it different ways. Can you guys think of a Chinese holiday that is similar to this? I can think of at least two, but mainly one. Yes, Qingming. No, Nintendo's not a holiday. Yes, Qingmingjie, right? So actually, Qingmingjie takes place kind of in like this, yeah. Not so much New Year's, right? But like Qingmingjie, also like Taiwan has like a ghost festival as well. Yeah, so Qingmingjie. So this is kind of a normal thing. A lot of cultures commemorate their dead in different ways. All right, so we only got like 10 minutes, and I gotta get to. Okay, we gotta go. All right, so All Souls Day. We talked about All Saints Day. All Saints Day is not the same as All Souls Day. So All Saints Day is just a day when you remember the saints. Actually, it's kind of like a month where you remember the saints. But All Souls Day is the next day, the following day. So like tomorrow, or yeah, Monday would be All Souls Day. And All Souls Day is a day where you pray for like everybody that has died. Again, this is like more of a Catholic holiday, not not like for all the Christians. But All Souls Day is for like all the dead people, and people like will pray for non-Christians that maybe have gone to purgatory, which is like a waiting space, and these people are waiting to be judged by God. And so non-Christians will pray for or Christians will pray for non-Christians, Catholics will pray for non-Christians that are in purgatory, and they'll pray for the deceased. And so here we have a little picture of like purgatory / hell, and yeah, you can see it's not a great place. Lots of fire, there's a devil and scary animals. Yikes. So scary. All right, let's look at this picture. How would you describe it? It's weird. Why is it weird? Okay, it's a little scary. What else is it? It's cool. It's creepy. It's weird. Okay, let's use a better word. Weird is a okay, why does it look weird to you? Can you describe it? Yeah, it's got a skeleton face. Stupid. Hey. I wouldn't necessarily I look at it, it's unexpected. That's a good word. Not natural, but kind of natural. Is it beautiful in a way? Is there beauty to it? I look at this and I'm like, wow, this is kind of a beautiful picture, right? But it is a little bit scary. I mean, look at the flowers. You don't think that's beautiful, her clothes? Okay, and like even the makeup is kind of pretty, but it's a little bit scary too, right? Okay, now this is actually a great picture to represent Day of the Dead, because Day of the Dead, it does tie into All Saints Day, but as I mentioned previously, it is also a blending of a Catholic tradition and a Mesoamerican, a pre-Spanish coming to America tradition. Okay, so I think I already asked you this, so we're not going to take too much time. But yeah, like you guys have heard about this a little bit, and yeah, you've already mentioned that. So let's talk real quick about syncretism. Try and say that word, syncretism, okay? So sync means like together, okay? Like putting together. So syncretism is actually the blending together of two or more practices or beliefs. Now, this could be like two religious ideas. It could be two like historical ideas. It could be two it could be like a historical or like a cultural belief and a religious belief, and you put it together. It doesn't necessarily have to be two religious ideas coming together. So syncretism just means two or more different beliefs, okay? And there's all different types of beliefs. It's a holiday that originated in Mexico. It's not just in Mexico, but it definitely started with the Aztecs in Mexico before Spain came around and took them over. Okay, it blends a lot of Catholic rituals with the pre-Hispanic practices, and because it was there before, now it's actually like really popular throughout all Latin America. And they've actually taken Day of the Dead, or sorry, they've actually taken All Saints Day and All Souls Day, and they've kind of like smushed them together, and they've kind of created this holiday that honors like all of these people that are dead because people die. So yeah, here's a picture of syncretism. So it's at least two beliefs, right? Blended together, and you get this new delicious thing. Okay, syncretism. The blender is syncretism. All right, when we look at Day of the Dead, it's also called Dia de Muertos or Dia de los Muertos. Muertos means dead, okay? Dia is day. So, oh, look, you guys are learning Spanish and English. 2-for-1 deal. It's the indigenous ancestors, they would actually, so the indigenous people would worship their ancestors, and it's really popular in Mexico, Peru, Bolivia, Ecuador, and they actually have a lot of local like indigenous people. So indigenous just means like the local people. So you remember like before the Spanish people came, they all had their own languages, their own customs, their own cultures, but then Spain came and conquered them, and then they started speaking Spanish and took on a lot of the Catholic religions. Okay, so there's some, yeah, okay, so this is a picture of South America. And you can see there's actually quite a bit of, yeah, actually this is where Day of the Dead is celebrated all throughout. Even in Brazil, Brazil, they don't speak Spanish, they actually speak Portuguese. But Catholicism is still quite popular here, and Day of the Dead is celebrated on the same days as All Saints Day. Okay, and so because Brazil is heavily Catholic, they also adopted Day of the Dead, or a lot of the traditions. Okay, so before the Spaniards arrived, Mexico was actually ruled by this very powerful civilization called the Aztecs, and we're not even sure like what happened. Like the Spanish came and a lot of diseases were brought over, but the Aztecs were actually a very powerful nation at points. And so when the Spanish came, they actually encountered the Aztecs. They bumped into the Aztecs, and they had these rituals that seemed to mock death. Like, okay, if I say like, you're going to die, like, how do you feel? Do you feel happy about that, or are you a little bit scared? Yeah, OMG, I'm gonna die, right? It's scary, right? But like the Aztecs, they were like, we're going to yeah, it's a good thing. You know, it was not something they were afraid of. They weren't intimidated by death. This was because they actually looked at death as waking up. And so, like, you know, like you wake up in the morning, like, oh, good morning. Like, that's kind of how they thought of it, like a spiritual waking up. And so they had these traditions and rituals they had been practicing for about 3,000 years. And when the Catholic Spaniards came in, they were like, oh my goodness, these people are killing each other and like sacrificing each other. Like they did a lot of human sacrifice where they're like, okay, yay, we're gonna wake you up, I'm gonna kill you now. So not so good, you know. So the Spaniards, when they came through, they did a lot of really nasty things themselves, but they said like, we got to stop the human sacrifice. And so they tried to stop it, but they couldn't really get rid of it as much as they would have liked. There's a picture of the Aztec pyramid. You can look at it. I think honestly this is more beautiful than the pyramids at Giza, but it's pretty it's pretty huge. Yeah, and so they would actually do like human sacrifice up here, you know, killing babies and things like that. And like if your soccer team won, then your soccer team would be sacrificed. Woohoo! So yeah, this is a Aztec pyramid. So they actually like when they killed people, they would actually like honor the dead and they would like decorate their skulls. So you see this, it's very creepy, but it's beautiful in a way too, right? So they're actually, you know, this person has been sacrificed and then they've kind of decorated their skull, and the skulls actually symbolize like death and rebirth. And so the skulls in Day of the Dead, it actually represents like, yeah, you know, the person's been reborn. So that's why they're kind of pretty. I mentioned before, the Aztecs viewed death as waking up, okay? And instead of being afraid of it, they actually embraced death. So they weren't like, oh no, I'm gonna die. They were like, yay, I'm gonna die. I'm gonna wake up. And as I said, the Spaniards couldn't kill off the ritual. So here you are. It's like, oh, waking up. Like, so this is kind of the way like we wake up, right? This is kind of how we feel about death. But actually, the Aztecs were like, yeah, let's go. And, you know, they wake up excited. They die happily. So the Spaniards moved All Saints Day closer to All Souls Day. And then actually that helped. They actually moved Day of the Dead as well. So the Spaniards were like, we're going to move it over. And so actually now they have, yeah, sorry, I just have like 2 more minutes and we're done. And so they have Day of the Dead and Day of the Infants, Day of the Innocents, for the babies that are dead. And here, all right. Okay, so this, I just want to show you this one last thing. So they'll make like these altars for Day of the Dead, and they'll actually have like marigolds and food for the spirits to come. So they actually make like an altar for a dead person, and it's not just like somebody that's like you know, dead recently, but like someone who's been dead for like could be like, you know, 100 years dead, and they'll actually like put their favorite foods out, put their water out. They'll make like a window for them to come in. Like this thing right here is a window, and they'll actually come in and they'll be like, yeah, this is where the spirit can enter, and they'll have their favorite fruit, their incense, their favorite smells. And then the marigolds, these orange flowers here are called marigolds, and they're actually for summoning the dead. They believe like the dead people like these smells. So yeah, I had a little bit more that I wanted to cover, but I think we got through most of it. So yeah, if you guys have some questions, because you guys are asking if you have questions. So I assume somebody has them because you're like, we want to ask questions. So, all right, I'm going to turn off my thing and you guys can get your questions. Oh, Q&A.
Okay, Brandon's hands up, so I will open his microphone for you.
Hi.
Hi.
I have one question is about, do you think when people die, they will rebirth after they die?
I'm a Christian, so I don't really believe in reincarnation. I believe that, yeah, when you die, God decides, you know, will you go to heaven or will you, yeah, go somewhere else?
Okay. Yeah. Then thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, next one. Okay, first I see there's some more hands up. If you still have questions, please hands up, then I can open your microphone. Okay, hi. Okay. It's Josie. If someone else have question? Okay, I think no one has hands up. So Grace, if you still have something can show them, maybe you can show them.
Okay, yeah, you guys
Okay,
up to
thank
see a
you.
little bit more? Because this is yeah, learning about other cultures is actually really important. And sometimes we don't talk about other cultures enough. So yeah. All right. Okay. So talking about the United States, because you guys probably have like some Latino or Mexican friends, and so you know to know a little bit about their culture is really important. And so they'll actually, yeah, they'll build altars, they'll put the food in, they'll light candles, and then the candles actually burn all night long. They actually do this in All Saints Day as well. And All Saints Day, and All Saints Day, it doesn't have to do with Day of the Dead necessarily. So these are like two separate traditions. But people from Mexico and people from like South America, they will almost, if they're Catholic, they will celebrate All Saints Day. So they'll light candles, and that actually comes more from the Catholicism. And then the fruit that they put out, this actually is telling the dead spirits, like their ancestors, is actually telling the ancestors what the trade is like and what the world is like. So for example, if you live in Canada and you're bringing in like bananas and grapes, like you guys can't grow bananas in Canada, I don't think, right? And so you're actually saying like, look, we still have good trade going with other parts of the world because we have all this fruit. They'll also do things with this bread. Let's see, does it have the bread? Okay, they also have this special bread here called pan de los muertos, bread of the dead, dead bread. And it's actually like a special bread that's like super hard to make, but it's specifically for Day of the Dead. And then they have the glass of water here because they believe the spirit comes from a very long way away and it will be very thirsty. And so they have the water for it as well. They'll also have like the person's favorite drink, and they'll drink that. And so like everybody will drink the person's favorite drink. So basically it's like, imagine like if you had a friend that died and you went to their favorite restaurant to honor their memory. Like you're like, yeah, we're gonna eat their food. They'll also do something, they'll write poems called calaveras. Now, normally when we write a poem about a dead person, we'll be like, oh, Auntie Sue, we love you. You were so nice and kind. You always gave me candy and could always read my mind. You're the best. Like, well, it'll be a nice poem. But actually, the calaveras, what they'll do is with the calaveras, they'll actually write like mocking poems. They'll actually like tease the person. They'll be like, oh, Auntie Sue, your nose was always blue. You gave me quite a fright every time I had a fight. You know, like they'll make a funny poem about the dead, and so they'll actually mock the dead a little bit. And that's a tradition that they have. Yeah, and so yeah, like I mentioned, the window back here, if we actually look at this this here, so this whole thing here, they call it a ventana. Okay, ventana means window in Spanish. And so this right here is a window. You can see that they have the same element here, right? In that. And so the ventana actually is very important because they believe that actually allows the spirit to come in. Okay, you thought ghosts were scared of water. Jason. So this is an interesting thing, is different cultures have different beliefs about ghosts. Okay, so maybe in China, they're scared of water, but in, you know, South America, they're like, the ghost is thirsty, it wants water. In some places, they believe ghosts live in waters and you know, pull people into the water. So yeah, this is all just different cultural views on death. Okay. You know, like obviously if you see one of these, you know, it's not really appropriate to touch it too much. You want to be sensitive to other cultures. You don't want to be like, oh, hey, look, apple, and eat. You're like, that apple was for my dead auntie. You know, even if you don't believe it, we still want to be respectful of one another, right? Like if it's during Qingmingjie and I see people like, you know, doing stuff, I wouldn't mess with whatever they're doing, right? We need to respect one another. Yeah. So yeah, this is just a bit about the altar decorations. Oh, a couple things I didn't mention. They have soap, towels, and other items. So like toothbrushes and stuff, so that the spirit can clean up, because you know they've been traveling for a while. And really, they're trying to welcome the spirit of the dead person back, and they're trying to remember and honor their memory. Yeah, and like I said, this isn't something, you know, we're talking about a cultural practice here. Like there are some cultural practices, I'm sure, that Chinese like are associated with China that you as a family don't necessarily do, right? And so, you know, this is just something that a lot of Latinos may do. A lot of Latinos are Catholic, and so they may do this, but some of them don't do it. So it's important to remember when you're talking about cultures, this isn't like every culture does this stuff, or everybody in Latin America does this stuff. There's a lot of people that don't do this stuff, just as like there's a lot of Chinese people that maybe don't do Qingmingjie. Okay, maybe they don't burn stuff to their deceased loved ones. Yeah. Okay, and the last thing on the skulls. So the skulls actually, you can see they're quite decorated. Sometimes they make them out of sugar. And this is actually just kind of a, oh yeah, remember the Aztec traditions with the skulls and decorating the skulls. It's something that still goes on to this day. If you go down to like Mexico, or you go down to even like Los Angeles in California, they have like these skulls that you can actually buy them and see them. And so when you see like, you know, these skulls now, like you actually see them on like you see them on like t-shirts and stuff and headphones sometimes. When you actually see these, you can actually be like, okay, that was Day of the Dead. So now you can understand Western culture a little bit more through the lens of our Latino friends. All right, I think that's about all that I got. So yeah, thanks for listening, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Bye, guys. Thanks for listening.
Bye.